But farewells without fuss are difficult to expect from families. Even at Portsmouth, with you about to embark on the tide of great adventure, you're still landlocked in their hearts. Perhaps at this moment you wouldn't want it any other way. But when the kissing has to stop, the worrying begins, for you and them. He's only leaving for a fortnight, isn't he? The time will fly, won't it? Money's not going to be much use at sea, but it reassures Dad. Roger Pym. He's a building trainee from Surrey. With 36 other boys aged between 16 and 21, he's thrown in his lot with the Sail Training Association schooner Sir Winston Churchill. Adventure training ship, three-masted, proud name. She cost £130,000 to build and she weighs 300 tons. Her intention? To give boys a fortnight of seacraft in the old way. Already there are new things to learn, like how to make a bed. Something you never came to terms with at home, you'll have to get used to on board. A mundane necessity, but already here below decks, the song is coming back. No longer a conventional school poem by John Masefield, smelling of chalk and platitudes. Now it means something personal and vivid. I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and the sky. And all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by. Already youth is at the helm under the eye of a watchful watch officer. Captain Glyn Griffiths is there. He's master of the schooner, one of those whose dream it was to build her. And as many hands make heavy work of saying goodbye, see how that dream became reality. A guard of honor was necessary, of course. Admiral Sir Charles Maiden inspected it at the schooner's keel-laying ceremony. The necessary ritual over, the real action begins. To assemble the flesh of reality on the ribs of an idea. She reared up towards completion at Hessel-on-Humber. Then, disaster. During one wind-haunted night, the force of the gale pushed her over 9 days before launching by Princess Alexandra. In desolate disarray, the Sir Winston lay, unable to keep the date with royalty and the sea. Among the ship workers, resolve hardened to have her back on schedule and into the sea. Hauling her upright was the first job.
She has more dignity now as she walks
tall again. And for Captain Griffiths, a dream is being repaired. She was launched 3 weeks later, quietly and unroyally, in a way that Sir Winston, parliamentary Democrat that he was, might well have appreciated, though never publicly acknowledged. Mrs. June Goodson, wife of the chairman of the Sail Training Association, officiated at the baptism. Now at sea on the Maiden voyage. Captain Griffiths and a cargo of boys learning that adventure needs a push to work, that the glow of achievement only comes when you found the sticks and lit the fire. What kind of boys? Why did they come? What do they hope for from the voyage?
I'm an engineer at Voyage Limited.
I'm an apprentice upholsterer.
Well, I'm still at school, but I've got a part-time job.
Well, I'm at school in Clifton. Well, I've just finished school and I'm wishing to go into the army.
I'm at Nautical College in Cardiff, and I'm training to be a deck officer.
I'm an apprentice carpenter with ECLP of Cornwall.
Oh, I'm just getting on the fun of it, make new friends and the adventure of it.
Well, I hope to see something of the sea.
I think I'll get some idea of teamwork and way of a big vessel, big sailing vessel.
Well, my family is a seagoing family. I've got a brother and my father who's a sailor, and I eventually hope to make it as a career.
I don't know whether to harden my character or not. Might.
Ships ancient and modern. You can't escape symbolic contrast on a ship like this, which has broken out of tradition's glass case. Lieutenant Commander Seal is one of 3 voluntary watch officers training the boys, teaching the complex arts of the seagoing past to negotiate the ever-present sea. They volunteer for the job because they love it, and they choose from the boys watch leaders, sea prefects to help them. The boys come from industry and school. They all share a common enthusiasm for the sea.
All right. And when you got that halyard on, make sure all the top. And that she's clear to run. Yeah.
Another job for the boys, but you strike up new friendships in detested spud bashing. The sea heaves and roars, and your frozen skin is off on a wild goose pimple chase. But you stick to the job you have to do. Your ship and shipmates depend on you. A galley metronome beats out the rhythm of the outside storm. And what was it Masefield said? I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life, to the gull's way, the whale's way, where the wind's like a whetted knife. The bosun's used to it, still wants orders obeying. The work of the ship still has to be done, and they say that the weather's getting calmer, even if you feel your insides are all outside.
Are they?
like the boys.
Do you think she's worth it?
Yeah, I do. I think it's something for the whole country, isn't it?
I think she'll help any...
Now it's appetites that are like whetted knives, blunting themselves on chip.
Talk and discussion revolves,
Of course, round the ship.
But I mean, here you've got to take...
A hammock, a sailor will tell you, is the most comfortable bed there is. You're suspended in space more comfortable than any foam rubber. It's been a hard seafaring day, and talk of jibs and mizens and booms and topsails jump like sheep, counting you to sleep. It's early morning as the ship approaches France, and people and the land you haven't seen for so long. Well, for a good many hours anyway.
sure. Just to
Have a look at the landlubbers for whom last night's storm was just a puddle of rain, a tin shed full of thunder. It's a boy's responsibility to cast off, to help shift this tall ship out into the open sea once more. Being aboard the Sir Winston Churchill is like being aboard no other British ship. Many other countries have sail ships like this for young people, but this is the first of its kind in Britain. Now another is hoped for. For a seagoing nation, the nation that bore Nelson, we've turned a strangely blind eye to nourishing a legendary past, creating a necessary myth for our young people. But there are unusual problems on such a ship. The rigging has to be checked and rechecked. Jim Crawford, the navigator, teaching the boys how to use a sextant. In a world without roads, a boy will learn that there are routes as severely mapped as any rail terminal. Man has imposed a discipline on watery chaos that the sea may ignore, but sailors cling to as to rafts. Always work to be done. Ironically, you can quote Coleridge, as idle as a painted ship upon a painted sea. But then there's relaxation in a swimming pool, 70 fathoms deep.
I definitely want to come along there now. You say, right, the tide is going to set me 259, 2 miles.
What they are also learning to chart is the length and breadth of their personalities, their own capabilities.
If you now, let's complete the parallel again. If you now alter course, we say to 080, the tide will be pushing you like this, and you'll never go off your course line. You'll go side-slipping along from A to B. Whereas this, what I was showing you, what will happen
Round the Persian coast,
in a tide
parts of the Indian coast, the Canadian coast.
So one can do either way like this.
It's a thing that...
Above decks, night has fallen in calm, and the companionship of necessary duties.
Put him in the longboat till he's sober, put him in the longboat till he's sober, put him in the longboat till he's sober, early in the morning. Hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises, early in the morning.
Let's have the Australia.
Australia is a mighty fine place. Heave away, oh heave away. And to go there, my lads, 'tis no disgrace, for we're bound for South Australia. Heave away, my bonny, bonny boys, heave away, oh heave away. Heave away, why don't you make some noise, for we're bound for South Australia. Australian women don't use no comb. Heave away, oh heave away. They comb their hair with a codfish comb, for we're bound for South Australia. Heave away, my bonny, bonny boys, heave away, oh heave away. Heave away, why don't you make some noise, for we're bound for South Australia.
I know. This is Mike. Okay. Mike.
The Sir Winston Churchill. What is its real purpose?
It's a very difficult question to put into the answer into a few words. There have been lots of phrases used like character building, similar to the outward bound scheme, that type of answer. We look on it this way, that a boy from boys from varying backgrounds will come with us, will have a fortnight doing things they've never done before in their lives. We will plant in them some small seed. Whether the seed will ever grow, or whether it will just remain there, or whether the boy will benefit at all, is a matter of luck. But we feel that most boys will get some small thing out of it, and we cannot put our finger on and say, that is what a boy can achieve.
What sort of relationship do you like to establish between your permanent and voluntary officers and the boys of the crew?
It's difficult to define. We hope that the boys naturally fall into calling them sir, but they don't do it in a yes or no, so 3 makes 4. They don't do blind obedience. There's a sensible discipline, I think, on board. The boys obey orders without any question, or they'll question it later on when they know it's the right time so to do.
And now you're back on land, at Chatham. And after 2 weeks on the Sir Winston Churchill, what have you learned?
I think I've learned to mix with people very well. I think this comes with, you know, all having to heave on one rope. Well, I've met people. It's helped me with people from different walks of life. I've met people from all different parts of the country.
I found that there's hardly anybody argued at all, even though all the boys were of different classes and from different places in the country. I think we all got on very well, and you had to be very patient to put up with one another.
It's allowed me to meet a lot more people than I would generally meet. This is one of my failings. I can't meet people very well, and it's brought me together into one of a group. I think it'll help me a lot in later life to appreciate the problems of other people, because, I mean, you meet everybody from a different walk of life, and you get the people with a vast amount of money, and you get the people who were sent who couldn't afford to come themselves.
You've learned to stand out on a limb by yourself and yet be part of a crew. Learn to take deep breaths in a breathless age.
Goodbye, sir.
All this.
Right, come on. I think you go. I'll let you.
Hello. Had a good one.
That's Roger Pym up there. We started with him. He did so well, I asked him to stay aboard as watch leader while the others go ashore. Their commitments are with the land. The adventure is over. A bigger one begins. For a fortnight, the boys have pulled up anchor on their shore selves. Perhaps now they see things afresh, anew. You've changed, of course. Who wouldn't? On a tall ship, you've aged a fortnight, but grown to be yourself.
Well, that concludes your bonus films on this particular